Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's Explainer. We are diving into our career spotlight of the week. If you're a high school student trying to map out your future, or maybe a parent helping to navigate all these big choices, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating, incredibly impactful field, renewable energy engineering. Let's get right into it. Now, before we jump into the nuts and bolts of the engineering itself, let's just quickly answer, what exactly is this career spotlight? Well, choosing a career path is a pretty high-stakes decision, right? So we're here to really explore some real, viable options before you lock in your school subjects and college majors.
Our whole philosophy here is simple. It's a research-backed, interest-first approach. We really want to align a student's natural strengths with their perfect professional fit. We're moving way beyond that old strict binary of, you have to be a doctor or a software engineer, to discover paths that are perfectly tailored to what you're naturally good at.
Okay, here's our quick roadmap for today. We're going to cover what this career actually is, what these engineers do day to day, the essential skills you need, the best high school subjects to take, the future demand in India, and finally, a truly mind-blowing clean energy fact. All right, part one. What is this career really? Let's move beyond the myths. At its core, this is where physics, chemistry, and math all come together to basically capture sunlight and wind. Now, the expectation is usually that these engineers are just out there in a hard hat, climbing rooftops with a wrench to fix solar panels. But the reality? It's designing massive, complex systems and running some pretty heavy calculations long before anyone even thinks about climbing onto a roof. Think about a classic Indian summer. We all know that sound, right? That super noisy, smoky diesel generator roaring to life the second there's a power cut. Now, contrast that with a house that's just running quietly, smoothly, and totally cleanly on rooftop solar. That tangible, everyday difference, that exists because of the relentless, behind-the-scenes work these engineers do. Which brings us to part two. What do they actually do? Let's look at a day in the life. Picture this. It's 6 a.m. out in the vast, quiet salt flats of Kutch, Gujarat. Meet Devansh Solanki. He's driving through this landscape toward Khavda, which is one of the world's largest renewable energy parks. One specific row of solar panels out there is generating slightly less power than expected, and hey, it's his job to figure out exactly why. So here's his workflow. First, he's crunching his laptop data, comparing that underperforming row against the normal ones. Next up, a visual inspection. He confirms there's just a thin layer of wind-blown sand coating the panels. He flags that specific section to the cleaning team, and crucially, he updates the monitoring software to automate future alerts for this exact issue. Multiplied across thousands of panels, this kind of quick thinking keeps a literal city-sized plant running flawlessly. Moving on to part three, essential skills you need. Let's open up the engineer's toolkit. It totally starts with curiosity and a really sharp eye for detail. Like, if you naturally find yourself wondering why a ceiling fan slows down or why a torch suddenly dims, you already have the exact right mindset. Because in this field, a tiny, almost invisible design error can quietly reduce a power plant's output for years if no one catches it. Next up, comfort with numbers. And yeah, this one is pretty non-negotiable. These engineers are constantly calculating efficiency and power output, and they rely really heavily on math and physics formulas. Being totally at ease with these numbers just makes the daily heavy lifting of this profession so much easier. And finally, on-the-spot problem solving. This isn't your standard, perfectly climate-controlled desk job, folks. You've got to adapt to sudden weather changes, unexpected equipment faults, and the actual gritty realities of working outdoors. You really have to be comfortable thinking on your feet. So, part four. Best subjects for this path to help you build your foundation. If this career is actually starting to sound like a solid fit for you, your core academic foundation absolutely has to be built on physics, chemistry, and mathematics. But if you really want to give yourself an edge, combine those with applied subjects like environmental science, computer science, or even geography, because those mirror the deeply interdisciplinary nature of this entire field. All right, part five, the future demand in India. Is this a future-proof choice? Parents, if you're tuning in and wondering about job security, which is completely fair, listen to this. The World Economic Forum actually lists renewable energy engineers as among the 15 fastest-growing job roles anywhere in the world through 2030. The whole world is pivoting away from fossil fuels, and they desperately, desperately need engineers to build these new systems.
And the best part? It is happening right here at home. Heavy-hitting Indian conglomerates, we're talking Adani Green Energy, Tata Power, Renew Power, NTPC, Suzlon Energy, they are actively hiring and massively expanding their teams across solar, wind, hydro, and biofuels. The domestic demand here is just absolutely booming right now.
And finally, part 6, one massive clean energy fact. Let's look at the Khavda project.
Let's head back to that quiet desert in Gujarat where Devansh was working earlier. Adani Green Energy is currently building the Khavda megaproject out there on completely barren, salt-affected land. I mean, this is land that previously had basically zero economic value.
But once it's complete, this single megapark is expected to generate an astonishing 30 gigawatts of clean power. Just let that number sink in for a second. 30 gigawatts. Honestly, it's almost hard to wrap your head around a number that massive. So what does that actually mean for us?
Well, it translates to 1 crore. 30 gigawatts is enough power to light up well over 1 crore homes across India. 1 crore. That is literally millions of lives transformed, powered purely by the sun and the wind, and completely designed by engineers working diligently out in the desert.
And just to put that geographic footprint into perspective for you, the Khavda site is roughly 5 times the size of the entire city of Paris. A quiet stretch of desert in India is literally turning into one of the biggest clean energy projects on planet Earth, built one calculated engineering decision at a time.
Every single solar panel that lights up a home, every wind turbine that spins quietly in the breeze, it all exists because an engineer tackled a problem. This field brings together high-level physics, complex problem-solving, and just a genuine, real care for the future of our planet. So, I'll leave you with this. If sunlight, wind, and crunching numbers actually interest you, could this be the career shaping your future? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.